Hi everyone, hope you all are doing well today. This is Steph, and today we're going to be talking about effective sampling, following up, and inviting to a class. Now we all know that this is the crux of how we run our doTERRA business, and there are very specific and effective ways that you can be more successful at it. So first of all, of course, we want to sample, right? So most people carry samples with them, or you should, in some way, shape, or form. So you can have that in a keychain. I always have 1 or 2 keychains with me and my actual sample box as well. If you don't have your samples with you regularly, then the opportunity will present itself and you won't have your samples with you. So be sure that you find a way that's comfortable for you to carry your oils with you all the time so you have samples when you're ready for them. So of course, some people are good at sampling complete strangers. I, for one, am not very good at that. I prefer a relationship first. So whether the contact is new or someone who I even may know a little bit, acquaintance-wise, I always try to build that relationship first, establish a rapport. You may connect over work or family or kids or school or ballet class or whatever it is, but when you establish a rapport, by getting them to talk about themselves and really caring about what they say, then that is a great way to introduce an essential oil. So then eventually the conversation turns to help of some form, right? So when, oh, I'm having trouble sleeping, or I'm having some headaches, or my son's allergies are acting up, etc., that is the time when you can introduce a sample. So one way to do that is when, I should have had a little sample right here with me, right? So one way to do that is to offer the sample. This is what I do. Oh, are you open to natural health alternatives? Have you ever heard of essential oils? And inevitably, either they have or they have not, so you take it from there. And then you simply say, you know, are you willing to try an essential oil? I have a sample right here, and I would love to gift it to you. I would love it if you would allow me the honor of following up with you in a couple of days to see how it worked. And you'll notice that I'm still holding my pretend gram, right? I'm still holding the sample when I ask this question, right? I'm letting them give me permission first to contact them. And inevitably, they always say, yes, sure, I'd love it if you contacted me. Okay, here you go. And so that's kind of like their payment for that sample. They've agreed to let me contact them again. And then, of course, something that's so vital in following up, I feel like, is getting their information. So it's very easy and non-threatening to hand them your business card, but I'm telling you, they won't call you. It's very rare. It's a very rare occasion where they will actually call you themselves. So you always want to get their information, right? At least their name, phone number, and email is a great way. I always carry a little notepad and piece of paper, right? And a pen close to my samples so that I can gather their information. And then I normally actually say, I'm going to call you Tuesday morning. Does that work for you? And they might say, no, I won't be home. And then I can pick a better time. And I actually make that appointment, okay? And another really important point of sampling, I think, is sampling the right sample, right? So you don't just want to give lemon to every person. You want to sample to their specific health need for that direct therapeutic benefit. And I really think that this is key. So if someone spends 10 minutes talking to you about an insomnia problem and you give them peppermint, they may have a wow moment with peppermint, but it doesn't really help them solve their problem. So your job is to identify their need and help them find a benefit for their need, help them solve their health issue. So that is why I carry an array of samples with me, including frankincense, all the time, because you just never know what sample that you might need. And if you don't have it, get them for sure. Okay, so you're going to then follow up in a couple of days. And I think, you know, we've all heard it before, the fortunes in the follow-up, right? But it really is. That's where the majority of everything is lost, is if you do not discipline yourselves to follow up. So in that next couple of days, be sure you call them up, and they're going to tell you one of a couple of different things. A, they weren't able to try the sample at that point. B, they tried it and they loved it. Or C, oh, I tried it, I'm not really sure if it worked. So user error, I would say, or usage is probably the #1 reason that I personally see why an essential oil may or may not have the best benefit for a person. So if someone's taking past tense and ding, thinking that's going to work instead of rolling it on and on the temples and down the jawline and sometimes on the back of the neck, that's really important. I've also had people tell me they couldn't get the oil out of a dram. So if you've neglected to tell them that they have to remove the lid and tap the bottom of the bottle, that's something so simple that people miss, and people can get frustrated very easily and just set the sample aside. So much like when you go to a doctor and say, hey, I have this issue, and they say, okay, here, try this for that, and it doesn't work, then they don't say, oh, I have to live with this health issue for the rest of my life, right? No, they don't say that. They just try the next thing. So when I'm talking to someone about essential oils, I normally say 99% of the time they work across the board. Occasionally, we'll have someone who responds a little bit differently, and then we just try a different oil. So I'm already predisposing them to thinking about essential oils like a lifestyle, not anything magic or miracle type thing, but that it's just a more natural form of medicine, and very powerful and effective plant medicine, right? That's what it is. So there's that. So then when you follow up and they're excited about them, if you identify where they are at, whether they didn't get a chance to use it, whether they used it and loved it, or whether they weren't sure it worked or not, then you can follow up from one of those three things as well. So let's jump right to they loved it and they're ready to learn more. That is when you invite them to a class. I always have 2 class dates available, so if they can't come to the first one, it's more difficult to say no to the second one. And of course, if I've already really, truly cared about them enough to solve a health issue that they had with the sample, then they really do want to come and learn more. Always no obligation, right? So then I give them the options for class times and invite them. And one thing that's really important about effective inviting as well is following up and reminding. So I used to try not to bother anyone. I was more apologetic, and now that's out the window, right? So now I always follow up a week before. I normally invite about a week ahead of time, a week to 10 days ahead of time. Then I follow up a week before with a, hey, can't wait to see you, or a reminder about the class, and then the day before as well. I also never used to offer prizes. I never did incentives like that. I was very much, oh, this is such value for you anyway, the education is value enough. And now all of that is out the window for me too. I don't mind at all saying, hey, if you are on time, everyone who is on time for this class is going to receive a free gift. And let me tell you what, all 10 or 15 of my people show up on time, because no one wants to miss that free gift. And often it's just an air freshener or something silly, but people love giveaways. So I really have seen that work very effectively. Or if you bring a friend, that type of thing as well. Also, I think the mood of the party is important, and you can gauge your audience that way. I used to always put out a big spread at first. Then I went into putting out just water with peppermint or lemon. And then I kind of fell right into the middle. Like, everyone loves a little bit of a snack, right? So there's nothing wrong with doing that. I'm sorry, I just realized I have serious sunlight in my face. Sorry about that, guys. At any rate, I'm not going to be able to get that off. So always carry your samples with you. Okay, always sample to a need that they have, not just whatever sample you have floating around in your purse. Okay, always have them give you permission to contact them while you're still holding that sample, right? May I contact you in a couple days to see how this worked? Yes, they're going to say, and then you hand over the sample. You collect their contact information, right, instead of the other way around. That way you can definitely follow up with them. You always have a couple of options for class. Then you always remind them once or twice before the class, and you can incentivize or not incentivize based on whatever your need is or whatever your host's needs are. Also, a lot of times the class that's being held is from a new person, a new wellness advocate, right? Or a new wholesale customer even, who's going to become a wellness advocate. So we want to encourage them that they don't have to know everything there is to know about oils, that we will come in and we will teach and we will bring samples and giveaways and things like that, and just really encourage them to just take ownership of just hosting the class, and they don't have anything more to worry about. They will learn very quickly. They will love it. All of our hostesses just love, love, love hosting classes, and we care. We put a lot of stock into our sharers as well, because even if they're not actively building, when they host a class for us, we take very good care of them, and they become an influence over their own circle anyway. So it's really a lot of fun no matter where someone is. If you're just living the doTERRA lifestyle, if they are sharing essential oils, sharing the doTERRA lifestyle, or whether they're building a doTERRA empire or just trying to get their oils paid for, there's a place for everyone. But if we do not effectively sample and then follow up and then effectively invite to a class, then what's the point, right? We need to actually get these tools into the hands of our friends and family in order to help create the therapeutic benefit in their lives in so many different ways as well. All right, so those are my inviting and sampling tips for today. Take care, you guys, and talk to you soon.